Hello and welcome to Study with Sudhir. This is your digital classroom. My name is T.S. Sudhir. We are taking a look at a story, a chapter in fact, from the class 10 SSC syllabus of both Telangana and Andhra Pradesh State Board, and this is the English syllabus. The book is called Our World Through English, and I am specifically looking at the unit theme of biodiversity and the chapter A Tale of Three Villages. We have already done the first part in a separate video, and I am putting up the thumbnail out there. It's called it was on the Koko village in Nigeria, the story of Mr. Sunday Nana. Today we will be in this video lesson looking at the second part of this tale of three villages. There is a running theme of pollution and the effect it has on the lives of people and animals in different parts of the world. And what you realize when you read these three chapters, these three essays, which are very hard hitting and very real, is that there is not much difference from a developing country or a developed country when it comes to dealing with pollution. People are reckless, and especially people do not think much before passing on their polluted material onto another place which is poor. They don't care whether other people die so long as my place is absolutely safe for me and my people to live in. That's what we saw in the story in Nigeria, where material had been sent from, poisonous material had been sent from Italy to this small village called Koko village in Nigeria, because people in Italy could not care less about what happens to the people in Koko village. Let's today look at the story from Poni Manthuri village in India, and this is a village in Kolkata. It's a very short essay, but it is very important for you to understand, for young Indians like you to understand what kind of damage environmental pollution can do to you, me and future generations. It's very important for you to be aware, for you to know and to be knowledgeable about all these aspects. I can remember the time, and I would want you to open the book and also underline the keywords, the important words with a pencil, so that you can use those words when you are writing your answers, because that will make your answer look that much better. You can get better marks like that. I can remember the time, she said wistfully. Wistfully is essentially said with something like, when you are feeling a little vague, and also a sense of what we call longing. Longing ante you want something, okay, you are looking forward to get something. So wistfully is like, I wish I had that ice cream, it is with a sense of longing, a sense of hope. So that is the meaning of the word wistfully. I can remember the time, and look at the sentence, you will understand the meaning. I can remember the time when all the fields around this village were green and the harvest good. So she is talking about the time when all the fields around this village, the Poni Manthuri village, were lush green in color, and they actually gave a good harvest. Okay, so she is thinking about the time and almost like thinking, I wish it was still like that. That's why I said wistfully. Her outstretched arm, what is an outstretched arm? I mean, like Shah Rukh Khan, an outstretched arm described a complete circle as she stood in the morning sun. Her outstretched arm, 180 degrees, almost like a circle, as she stood in the morning sun. So we are talking of a morning time when this conversation is taking place, when this talk is taking place. Then they built those monsters. What are the monsters? She is referring to the factories as the monster. Monster ante Rakshas. Okay. Those. Now she does not even complete the sentence. And why doesn't she complete the sentence? Because she is almost feeling very upset and angry from inside, that they came and destroyed everything out here. They are the people who came in later. Till then everything around here was lush green with good crop, and they came and destroyed and spoiled everything in our village, right? Her voice spluttered in anger. Spluttered ante when you start a scooter, or sometimes even a car, and it doesn't start properly, that is called a spluttering sound. It's not smooth. It's almost like, the engine will go off in some time, you know. So you kind of maybe sometimes switch it off again and switch it on again, thinking that it will come back. So that sound is called spluttering, you know. It's not a very regular and a very smooth kind of a sound. Her voice spluttered in anger. Because she is very angry, the words are not coming out. Then they build those monsters, those, you know, she wants to say more, but the words are not coming because she's so angry and upset. As she shook her fist, this is fist, you know, when you close your this thing, this is fist. Pawan Kalyan, like a Pawan Kalyan. At a collection of ominous looking black buildings on the horizon. Ominous ante dangerous, you know, something. Where does the word ominous come from? It comes from the word omen, O-M-E-N. You say no, it's a bad omen. You know, something, if a black cat passes your path, you say it's a bad omen. So from omen comes the word ominous. Okay, so ominous is something which is not going to bring you good news. Okay, something, a symbol of danger. As she shook her fist at a collection of ominous looking, you know, dangerous looking and bad news conveying black buildings on the horizon, you know, in the distant area, she can see all those black color buildings which she referred to as monsters, covered in a low lying shroud of thick smoke. Shroud is essentially a covering, you know, when you cover yourself with a blanket, that can also be referred to as a shroud. Okay, and that's the thick smoke, black smoke, and that thing is almost like, you know, a covering of black thick smoke. They said that factories need leather to make shoes, handbags and clothes. Okay, that the factories, these are the leather factories which are making leather to make shoes, handbags and even leather jackets kind of stuff. They said our men folk would get jobs. So the men in our village, the Ponni Manthuri village, will get jobs in these factories. They said we would all become rich. So before these factories were set up, before these monsters came in, they promised all these very good things, that they would produce this leather by which you will make all these different things. They've said that it will create employment for the men in that village, and they also said that we will all become very rich. We stood silent, each thinking our own thoughts. So everybody is silently listening to what was said at that time. Yes, they told you all that, but there is so much they did not tell you. They told you only the good things that could happen. They didn't tell you about what would happen in a bad way. They didn't tell you that to change animal skins into leather, which they call tanning. Tanning is the process to convert animal skin into leather. Okay, this definition you need to know. Uses as many as 250 different chemicals. So when animal leather has to be converted through a process which is called tanning, 250 different kind of chemicals are mixed in order to convert that animal skin into usable leather which can be used by you and me. Including, and these, what are these 250 different chemicals? They include chemicals like cadmium, arsenic and chromium, which are poisonous and very toxic and dangerous. They did not tell you that these chemicals are discharged into the environment from those chimney stacks. So from the chimney, in terms of air pollution, all these chemicals are released into the air and fall to earth for miles around, polluting the earth below. So all of them, the discharge from those fumes, eventually they all fall on the earth over a large area, completely polluting the earth. Okay. They did not tell you that this would poison the fields so that nothing would grow. So in all that, sometimes in terms of a liquid also, it is released into the fields. So the groundwater becomes poisonous, and as a result of which the crops cannot grow there. The soil becomes absolutely unworthy. It cannot be used to grow any good crop. See the contrast in the first sentence where she said that it used to be lush green and we used to get a good harvest. Now the situation is such that the fields have all been covered with this kind of a poison. They did not tell us that the chemicals would be dumped in open fields. So the chemical residue, you know, after you use those chemicals to convert animal leather into leather finished goods, all those chemical waste which is there is all released into the open fields. and into our rivers from where they would be fetching water. Side Vijaya Sama, she's the person who is being spoken of in this particular essay. We had been thinking the same thoughts. They did not tell us that our women would then have to walk 10 kilometers every day to fetch water, because the rivers around in that village, the Ponimanturi village, have all become completely polluted. The water in those rivers cannot be used for drinking or any kind of human purpose like washing clothes or for taking bath. They did not tell us that our women will now have to walk 10 kilometers away to fetch clean water. They did not tell us that we would get ulcer and sores on our bodies, skin diseases as a result of being close to these kind of water bodies. By chance, if you kind of step into that water or walk on that soil which has been poisoned by the chemical waste, we would get ulcers and skin diseases like sores on our bodies. They did not tell us, and again her voice trailed off again because she is very angry and upset by what those monstrous factories have done to the lives of the villagers there. There is so much they did not tell you, I thought. We don't buy leather shoes or leather handbags or leather clothes. So the product which is made by these factories is of no use to the villagers here, but they are the ones who are paying a price for it. You understand the irony of it, that all these things which may be imported or which may be sold in the big cities like Mumbai and Delhi, but the people who are actually suffering in order to make these leather handbags or leather shoes don't even buy those products. They have nothing but they are the ones who are paying a big price with their life in terms of skin diseases, in terms of not being able to grow anything in that village anymore, not being able to use any of the drinking water sources in the rivers, having to walk 10 kilometers away, suffering from ulcers. So in that sense, a complete life of suffering which has been inflicted on the people of this village as a result of this chemical tanning factories, leather tanning factories. Now, this particular issue was highlighted by the Environment Protection Summit by different NGOs, which is how this entire plight, the situation in this particular village came to be known by the entire world. So it's an important essay, and the questions that you would come from this particular essay would relate essentially to what is been said and explained by me in this chapter. So if you underline the keywords, use those keywords and are able to explain and put it in context of what it really means, you would be able to get good marks. I hope this is very, very clear. So for instance, one of the questions is, the narrator said at the end, there is so much they did not tell you, I thought. What was that so much that was not told according to you? So now all these points that she mentioned, Vijaya Sama mentions, if you are able to write in exact point form, break it into small paragraphs, 1 line, 2 line paragraphs, you will be able to get very high marks as far as this chapter is concerned. I'll see you in part 3, where we will talk about the village in Ukraine, which was part of the erstwhile USSR or Soviet Union as it was called, which is also dealing with a similar kind of crisis, perhaps even more dangerous than what has been seen in either Coco village or in Ponimanturi. Thank you very much for watching.